There is a reason the night feels heavier than the day. When the world falls quiet, when the distractions fade, something else awakens, the voice within you that you cannot escape. It is here, in the silence, that your subconscious listens most closely. It does not question. It does not argue. It simply absorbs. Every word you speak in these hours becomes law, whether it builds you or destroys you. Tonight, what you choose to whisper could rewrite everything you thought was permanent. Every limitation, every fear, every hidden belief you've carried like a shadow. If you have ever felt trapped by the same cycles, know this: the doorway to change does not open in the morning. It opens in the silence of night. Watch till the end, hit subscribe, and remember, the real change begins now. Picture this: a man lies awake in the darkness, staring at the ceiling. The day has ended, but his mind is restless. He whispers to himself, barely audible, "I can't keep living like this. I'm not enough." He thinks no one hears him. He thinks those words vanish into the air, but they don't. Something inside of him, quiet, patient, unblinking, is listening. That something is the subconscious mind. Your subconscious has no filter, no debate, no defense mechanism. It does not rise to argue with you. It does not say, "No, that isn't true." It absorbs every word you speak as instruction. When you whisper defeat, it builds a life that reflects defeat. When you murmur doubt, it seeds the ground with limitation. And when you dare to whisper courage, it begins, slowly but relentlessly, to rearrange reality in your favor. Think about that for a moment. The conversations you have in silence, not the words you post online, not the things you say in meetings, but the whispers before you close your eyes. Those are the instructions your subconscious takes as law. It does not sleep. It does not forget. It takes those words, and like a silent architect, begins shaping your tomorrow. This is why so many people live the same year over and over again, mistaking repetition for progress. They carry invisible scripts written by their own lips, scripts they never realized they authored. The gatekeeper inside them obeys faithfully, even when those orders keep them chained. But here is the hidden power you've always carried. If your subconscious is always listening, then you can begin feeding it the words it has been starving for. Words that expand you. Words that heal. Words that break patterns you thought were permanent. The key is not shouting, not forcing, but whispering with conviction. Letting the gatekeeper hear a new language. Consider how farmers treat their soil. They know that whatever they plant, the ground does not argue. It doesn't say, "This seed isn't good enough." It simply grows what it's given. Your subconscious is no different. For years you may have been planting weeds, words of doubt, fear, failure, and your life, faithfully, has grown those weeds. But tonight, you begin planting something new. And once you understand that the gatekeeper listens to every seed, you realize something profound. The words you choose are not casual. They are blueprints. They are laws. They are the silent contracts that shape your destiny. So as you lie in the quiet tonight, remember this truth. You are never speaking into emptiness. You are always speaking into the ear of the architect. And what you choose to tell it will be built into the walls of your future. Because words are not just sounds carried on air. They are construction. They are architecture. They are the designs of the life you will either regret or rejoice in. And that leads us to the next lesson. A truth even more sobering. Your words don't just echo. They create the architecture of your reality. Words are not decorations. They are not harmless sounds that vanish once spoken. Words are builders. They carve invisible structures in the unseen. And those structures become the very walls of your reality. Your subconscious, the gatekeeper we've spoken of, does not merely hear them. It constructs with them. Imagine a child who grows up hearing, again and again, "You're slow. You'll never amount to anything." Those words burrow into the soil of the subconscious. They grow into vines that tighten around the child's potential. Until one day, as an adult, they no longer need to hear the voice outside. They carry it within, repeating the prison sentence themselves: "I can't. I'm not enough. Why even try? Their reality reflects the language they were given. Now imagine another child. Their mother kneels beside them after a failure, looks them in the eyes, and says, "You are capable. This setback is not who you are." Their father tells them, "You are loved. You are strong." Those words too sink deep into the subconscious. And when that child grows, their reality feels different. They face obstacles, but they hear the blueprint of resilience inside of them. The architecture of their identity was built by words that carried truth, love, and strength. Here is what most people never realize. Your subconscious cannot tell the difference between imagination and reality. It cannot discern between lies and truth. It only obeys, which means every sentence you repeat, whether whispered in frustration or spoken with conviction, is treated as an instruction. I always fail. The subconscious builds failure. I am learning to rise. The subconscious builds growth. Words frame identity. Identity frames behavior. Behavior creates destiny. This is the silent chain that rules human lives. And yet so many treat language as though it is casual, careless, harmless. They joke about their failures. They mock their own dreams. They call themselves names in jest, and their subconscious does not laugh. It records. It builds. Think of words like seeds thrown into fertile soil. You may laugh as you toss them, but the earth will not laugh. It will grow whatever it receives. In the same way, the words you scatter into the subconscious will quietly become the harvest you must live with. This is why the greatest shifts begin not with action, but with language. If you want to change your life, you must first change the sentences you are willing to say about yourself. Stop describing yourself as broken, as unlucky, as trapped. The more you repeat those stories, the more the subconscious cements them into the walls of your being. Instead, begin to shape a new architecture. Choose words that reflect the person you are becoming, not the person you've been. But I must warn you, this is not about repeating hollow affirmations you don't believe. If you stand in front of a mirror and chant, "I am powerful, I am unstoppable," while deep down you believe you are fragile, your subconscious will feel the fracture. It does not respond to empty declarations. It responds to words spoken with sincerity, with patience, with rhythm. At night when you whisper with honesty, "I am learning to grow. I am opening myself to possibility. I am worthy of change," your subconscious takes those words seriously. It begins to construct a reality around them. Not instantly, not with fireworks, but gradually, silently, inevitably, as a builder who never sleeps. So tonight you must ask yourself, what architecture have I been building? Have my words built prisons or bridges? Have they created walls that box me in? Or doorways that open me outward? Because whether you realize it or not, you are living inside a house built by yesterday's language, and tomorrow, you will live in the house you construct tonight. But what happens when you keep making promises to yourself that you never keep? What happens when your words declare a future, but your actions abandon it? The subconscious remembers, it records the betrayal, and that is where we must go next. Every year, millions of people make promises to themselves. This is the year I'll change. This is the year I'll get healthy. This is the year I'll finally chase that dream. And yet weeks later, those promises lie abandoned, like broken glass scattered on the floor. Outwardly, people laugh it off. They shrug and say, "I'll try again next time." But the subconscious doesn't laugh. It doesn't forget. It keeps score. Every broken promise you make to yourself becomes a quiet scar. Each one teaches your subconscious a painful lesson. My words cannot be trusted, and when that lesson repeats enough times, the subconscious stops believing you altogether. You say, "Tomorrow I'll start." It whispers back, "No, you won't." You declare, "This time is different." It replies, "We've been here before." This is why so many people feel trapped. They are not just fighting external obstacles. They are fighting an inner mind that no longer believes them. The weight of unkept promises is heavier than failure itself, because failure can still teach you, but a broken promise corrodes your trust in yourself. Think of a child whose parent constantly promises, I'll be there, I'll show up, I'll protect you, and then they don't. Over time, the child learns to stop expecting. The wound is not only the absence of action, but the erosion of trust. In the same way, your subconscious is that child. Each time you abandon your word, you teach it abandonment. You teach it that your language has no power. But here's the truth most people overlook. The damage is not permanent. The subconscious does not hold grudges. It holds patterns, and patterns can be rewritten. How? By giving it words you will honor, even in small ways, by starting not with grand declarations that crumble under pressure, but with modest, deliberate promises that you keep. Tonight I will breathe deeply before I sleep. Keep that. Tomorrow I will take one step toward my goal. Keep that. Over time your subconscious begins to learn again. Their words can be trusted. You don't need to promise mountains, you need to promise steps and take them. With each honored word you reclaim trust. With each fulfilled vow, you teach the gatekeeper. This is real, we are safe to believe again. So tonight, do not declare an empire you're not ready to build. Declare a brick. Speak a truth that you will not abandon. Speak it softly, but mean it. Let your subconscious begin to feel, once more, that your voice carries weight. And when you do, the night becomes a mirror, because in silence, the reflection of your promises is revealed without disguise. That is where we must go next. Into the mirror of night, where honesty can no longer be avoided. There is a moment each night, after the noise fades, and the world grows still, when the silence begins to echo. For some it is comforting. For others it is unbearable. But either way, the night becomes a mirror. In the dark, when there are no distractions left to shield you, you begin to hear yourself, and that voice, it never lies. Think of the man who moves through his day with laughter, busying himself with work, with screens, with conversation. He hides his doubts well. To the world he is confident, but when midnight arrives, when the phone is silent, and the lights are dim, he feels it, the hollowness he has been avoiding. His subconscious speaks in whispers. You are not living the life you pretend to. And in that moment, the mirror shows him his truth. The night is honest because it cannot be negotiated with. In daylight we can cover ourselves with distractions, but in darkness we stand exposed. The subconscious does not care about the mask you wear in front of others. It cares only about the words and feelings you repeat when the mask is gone. And in the stillness, those whispers rise louder than anything else. This is why so many people fear silence. They flood their nights with noise, scrolling endlessly, streaming shows until exhaustion takes them, because silence feels dangerous. It reveals too much. It reflects the life they have been pretending not to see. But what if silence was not an enemy? What if it was an invitation? Because here is the truth. The night mirror does not show you only your wounds. It also shows you your potential. In the same silence where you hear your doubts, you can also plant your declarations. In the stillness where your pain resurfaces, you can also rewrite the script. The mirror of night bends to your language. If you whisper I am broken, it reflects brokenness back to you. But if you whisper I am learning, I am rising, I am becoming, the reflection begins to change. The subconscious listens closely at night, when the mind is tired and the defenses are low. This is the doorway to transformation, not during the noise of day, but in the quiet honesty of night. Think of silence not as emptiness but as soil. It waits for you to choose what to plant. Most people plant weeds, speaking fear into the dark, but you can choose differently. You can stand before the mirror, and instead of avoiding it, speak into it. You can let the silence hear words it has never heard before. Words of healing, words of growth, words of becoming. And here's the most important part. The mirror does not demand perfection. It demands honesty. You do not have to say, I am flawless. You only have to say, I am ready to grow. You do not need to whisper I am unbreakable. You only need to whisper I am learning to stand again. These are words the subconscious can hold. These are seeds it can nurture into change. So tonight when silence arrives, and the mirror of night stares back at you, do not turn away. Step closer, speak carefully, because in that stillness, the subconscious is bending to listen, and every word you say is reshaping the reflection you will see tomorrow. But silence alone is not enough. To truly change the reflection, you must begin to rewrite the wounds it reveals. And that is where we must go next. Into the art of reprogramming the very pain that once defined you. Repetition is the language of the subconscious. Think about it, everything you know how to do effortlessly today was once something foreign. Walking, writing your name, driving a car, even the doubts you carry inside were not born overnight. They were repeated into you, spoken by others, reinforced by circumstances, and eventually echoed by your own thoughts until they felt like truth. This is how the subconscious works. It does not differentiate between what is real and what is rehearsed. It only learns through constant exposure. Just as a muscle grows with repeated training, belief grows with repeated affirmation. This is why what you whisper to yourself at night holds such weight. When you repeat a phrase in the stillness, night after night, it begins to carve new grooves into the mind. Think of it like re-recording over an old tape. The original track might still faintly exist, but the more you record, the stronger the new message becomes. Over time the old voice fades, and the new one takes its place. That is the process of reprogramming. It is not instant. It is not magical. It is deliberate, persistent. Consider this. Negative self-talk is also repetition. I'm not good enough. Things never work out for me. I can't change. These are affirmations too. Just destructive ones. If repeated enough, they become commands your subconscious follows without resistance. So the question is not whether you are programming your mind. The real question is, what are you programming it with? Here's the truth most people overlook. A single powerful affirmation will not shift your destiny, but a single affirmation whispered into the silence for 21 nights can plant a seed. Continued for 60 nights, it begins to take root. Carried beyond 90 nights, it becomes unshakable. This is the timeline of the subconscious. Slow, patient, but undeniable. Every night just before sleep, you are standing at the doorway to the deepest part of yourself. Your brain slips into alpha, then theta waves, states where suggestion bypasses resistance, and sinks directly into the subconscious. This is the perfect soil for planting repetition. A few words consistently spoken can do more to transform your destiny than hours of scattered effort during the day. Here's a practice. Choose one affirmation that counters your deepest limitation. If you've always believed I am unlucky, replace it with everything is working in my favor. If you've always thought I am not worthy, reframe it as I am worthy of love, success, and abundance, and then repeat it every night. Not loudly, not with force, just softly, like a lullaby to your own soul. At first it may feel fake, you may not believe it. That does not matter. Remember, the subconscious does not care if it's real or imagined. It only listens to repetition, and repetition, carried long enough, becomes true. So understand this. Destiny does not change in an instant. It changes in whispers, in words repeated until they weave themselves into your very identity. Tonight you can begin that reprogramming. Say it, whisper it, repeat it, and watch your subconscious begin to rewrite your story. Have you ever noticed how heavy a simple thought can feel? A mistake from 5 years ago, a harsh word spoken to you, a rejection, a failure. You carry it quietly, every single day. It shows in the way you walk, the way you think, and even in the way you drink. And yet the truth is this. The subconscious cannot plant new seeds in soil filled with old weeds. If you do not let go, you cannot grow. This is why tonight's practice is not just about affirmations or belief. It is about release. The act of letting go is one of the most underrated powers of the human mind. People think strength is holding on, but true strength, it's knowing when to let go. Think of your subconscious as a river. If you keep dropping stones of guilt, shame, anger, and regret into it, the current slows. Sometimes it stops altogether, leaving you stagnant. But the moment you decide to release, to forgive, to accept, to stop fighting the past, the waters begin to move again, energy flows, new ideas appear, new opportunities show up. You suddenly feel lighter, not because the world changed, but because you finally put down the stones you were carrying. So how do you release? You speak it into the night. You say, tonight, I release what no longer serves me. I release the pain that is not mine to carry. I release the past that cannot be changed. I free myself from the prisons of regret. I am open. I am ready. I am free. And here's the beauty. Your subconscious listens. It doesn't ask whether you truly deserve forgiveness, or if you've earned the right to be free. It simply takes the command and rewrites the story. You no longer act from wounds. You act from wisdom. You no longer chase validation. You walk in power. Remember this. Release is not forgetting. Release is choosing not to suffer twice, once for what happened, and again for reliving it. You are not defined by your scars. You are defined by the courage to rise despite them. So tonight, as you lie down, whisper the words of release. Feel the weight lift off your chest. Imagine chains breaking, doors opening, and light flooding. Let it be your final thought before sleep. Because when you wake up, your subconscious will have already begun its work, building a reality where you are no longer bound to yesterday. Let go, be free, step forward. There comes a moment when you must understand something so profound. It can reshape the way you live. Your destiny is not fixed. It is fluid, and it bends in response to your belief. Most people live their entire lives thinking destiny is a rigid script, written long before they were born. They walk through life as if chained to circumstances, blaming fate for their failures, luck for their setbacks, and chance for their victories. But this is only half of the truth. The weaker half, the other half, the stronger, undeniable reality is this. Your subconscious does not obey fate. It obeys faith. When you believe with intensity, your subconscious rewrites the very blueprint of your path. What you repeat each night is not just empty affirmation. It is a direct command to the unseen forces shaping tomorrow. If you whisper weakness, your subconscious lays the bricks of failure in silence. But if you declare victory, it begins constructing the road toward that victory, even while you sleep. Imagine planting a seed. If you believe it will never grow, you stop watering it, and it dies. But if you believe in it, nurture it, protect it, your belief becomes the unseen force that brings the seed to life. Your destiny works exactly the same way. The critical point is this. Belief is not wishful thinking. Belief is certain. It is not hoping for change. It is knowing that change is inevitable. The subconscious does not respond to doubt, hesitation, or half-hearted desires. It only responds to conviction. So tonight before you sleep, do not merely say words, charge them with belief. Say them as if your life already reflects them. Feel them as though they are not just coming, but here, now, alive within you. If you say I am free, then breathe as a free person. If you say I am successful, then feel the satisfaction of that success flowing through your veins. Your subconscious cannot distinguish between imagination and reality. It only mirrors what you believe to be true. And here is where destiny bends. Belief influences action. Action influences reality. And reality reinforces destiny. The moment you believe differently, you act differently. And when your actions change, your outcomes cannot remain the same. This is why so many remain stuck. They repeat words at night but carry doubt in their hearts. They speak freedom while secretly believing in chains. They declare wealth, but wake up believing they are destined to struggle. And so their subconscious honors the stronger belief, the hidden one, the doubt. But you can shift this starting tonight. The key is alignment. Your words, your emotions and your belief must walk together. When they align, they form an unshakable current that even destiny itself must obey. Remember this truth. You are not a prisoner of fate. You are the architect of it. Speak it, believe it, live it, and watch as your destiny reshapes itself around the strength of your conviction. There is a forest inside your mind. Its soil is rich, dark and alive, but also tangled with pathways carved long ago. Some of these trails are well worn, beaten down by years of the same thoughts, the same doubts, the same fears. You know these paths too well. I can't. It's too late. I'm not enough. Each time you've walked them, the soil pressed harder, the roots grew deeper, until the trail became so automatic you stopped questioning where it led. But here's the secret your subconscious has been guarding. Every word you repeat is a step on a path, and the more steps you take, the more permanent the trail becomes. This is the raw power of repetition. It does not care whether the words are poison or medicine. It simply obeys. Think of water carving through rock. At first it's only a trickle, easy to ignore, but given time, that trickle becomes a stream, then a river, then a canyon. Your words, repeated night after night, carry the same force. They etch into your subconscious, until they become the rivers that direct your destiny. This is why most people remain trapped. They don't realize they are rehearsing their own limitations. They go to bed whispering their failures in silence, replaying the insults they received, the mistakes they made. Without knowing it, they are training their subconscious to betray them, to create a reality that mirrors their darkest inner monologues. But tonight you can choose differently. Tonight you can plant new trails, carve new rivers, and write new laws into the soil of your mind. Here is how. When you lie down, in the quiet, choose a single phrase that reflects the destiny you desire. Something simple, something strong. I am worthy, I am unstoppable. I am the architect of my life. Do not just think it. Whisper it. Speak it aloud. Softly but firmly. Feel the words press into the silence. And then repeat, 10 times, 20, 100. Let the words roll through you, until they no longer feel like a choice, but like a truth. At first it may feel mechanical, but remember the forest. The first step on a new path always feels awkward. With each repetition, the grass bends. With each night, the dirt begins to compress, and soon, without effort, your mind will walk the new path instead of the old one. This is how empires are built in the unseen. This is how destinies are rewritten. Not in sudden explosions of change, but in the steady rhythm of words repeated in the dark. The subconscious cannot resist repetition. It bends, it reshapes, it obeys. So tonight, before the weight of sleep carries you away, ask yourself, what words do I want carved into my destiny? Then speak them, whisper them, until they become the rivers that guide your future. Because in the end, repetition is not just a practice. It is the hammer that shatters the chains of your past. When the sun has set, and the night stretches wide, you are left with two choices. Dwell on what you lack, or honor what you already hold. The subconscious does not measure abundance in numbers or wealth. It measures in attention. Whatever you consistently notice, it amplifies. If you focus on absence, it multiplies emptiness. If you focus on presence, it multiplies blessing. Gratitude is not a ritual of manners. It is a frequency. Each thank you spoken into the night is not simply a reflection of your current state. It is an invitation to more. The subconscious hears. This is valuable. Give me more of. Tonight speak softly. I am grateful for what is here. I am grateful for what is coming. Feel the weight lift. The tension soften. Gratitude turns survival into abundance, and tomorrow into possibility. Every night ends with silence. But silence is never empty. It's a doorway. Your last words before sleep are the blueprint your subconscious follows. If you go to bed with doubt, you wake with hesitation. If you go to bed with faith, you wake with strength. Tonight, give your subconscious a clear command. I trust the path ahead. I trust myself. I trust life to unfold for me. This is not blind optimism. It's alignment. By declaring trust, you dissolve resistance. You tell your subconscious, you don't need to fight, you just need to guide me, and it will. Fall asleep not with fear, but with certainty. Fall asleep not with questions, but with answers already living within you. The night is not the end of the day. It's the architect of your future. So tonight say it once more. I trust. So here you are, 10 lessons, 10 words of power whispered into the night. Each one was more than a phrase. It was a seed, seeds of gratitude, of forgiveness, of clarity, of trust. Tonight when the world grows quiet and you close your eyes, your subconscious will not rest. It will begin to work. It will water those seeds. It will design a new path for you. Understand this. Your destiny is not written in stone. It's written in thought, in feeling, in the quiet agreements you make with yourself before you drift into sleep. That is when the mind is most open. That is when change becomes inevitable. So tonight, do not take your words lightly. Say them with conviction. Feel them echo within you. And know this. The moment you do, your subconscious begins to rewrite the story of your life. Because destiny doesn't change in the daylight. It changes in the silence of the night. Say this tonight, and watch your subconscious rewrite your destiny.